It was given unto me a reed like unto a rod. And he said, rise, measure the temple, measure the altar, and come and worship therein. Then he said, measure not the palace. That's correct, the palace. For it is given to the ethnos, the nations. Major misinterpretation of end times prophecy is Revelation 11. Revelation 11 is talking about Ezekiel's temple. Okay, the reed to measure the temple is the same thing that you see in Ezekiel. Chapters 40 through 48 also describe a city. Major misinterpretation is we read in English, it says, measure not the outer court. That word is not outer court. That word is, I believe, aulon in the Greek. And what that means is a palace. Measure not the palace. What is the palace? The palace is the city. Ezekiel's temple has a temple. It has an altar. And separate from that is something called the city. And its name is Yahweh is there. Yahweh Shammah. Okay? So Yahweh will be in the Ezekiel temple. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure the temple. Okay, we're measuring the temple. Now there's a distinction. There's a distinction in the temple. What temple do we build? Who is the carpenter? Who is the architect? Where are our instructions to build the temple? Well, we're going to look at it, but basically the Jews are going to build Herod's temple. They're not going to build Ezekiel's temple. Okay, we'll look at the measurements. That's why we got to measure the temple, guys. Because Ezekiel's temple will be built. And Jesus Christ is Yahweh. He will reign in the temple 1,000 years. Okay? But now we sit here on the 24th day of the 6th month. Okay, in the words of Haggai, chapter 1. Now, consider your ways, it says. All right? For is it a time for you to dwell in sealed houses? Okay, and his house is laid waste. All of you are doing your own thing. You're not building the Lord's house. Okay, he's coming. He's coming soon. Consider your ways. Go to the mountain. Bring wood and build my house, says Yahweh. And I will take pleasure in it. I will be glorified, says Yahweh. And now, if you don't, there's a curse. For you looked for much, and there came little. When you brought it home, I blew upon it. Why, says Lord of hosts? Because my house is waste, and you run any man to your own house. You're doing your own thing. Therefore, heaven is stayed over you as dew, and the earth is stayed from her fruit. And he called for a Horeb on the land. Okay, that's like Mount Horeb. So, we have this time when the remnant of the people obeyed the voice of the Lord and the words of Haggai, as Yahweh, our God, has sent him, and the people feared the Lord. Okay, that's Haggai chapter 1. That's his precise date, guys. But how do we know what is the true building? There will be an Ezekiel temple, okay? But let's look at our instructions. Okay, we can see clearly in Haggai. Many of you know the two witnesses are two candlesticks, right? Well, one of the two witnesses is going to lay the foundation of the temple. Okay, that's what it says in Zechariah chapter 4. They're the two anointed sons. And they will lay the foundation crying, grace, grace, unto it. So they are Joshua and Zerubbabel, right there in Haggai. Okay, but the remnant of the people, will obey the instructions of the prophets to build his house. But we must follow the proper instructions. Isn't this awesome? Look at this cloud. When I was doing this video, I was walking from the site, and I saw this cloud of an angel. I mean, very clearly it's an angel with two wings standing. You see its shoulders and its head. And that just leads to the next part of the verse in Haggai chapter 1, where it actually says that Yahweh's messenger, but it's really an angel in Hebrew. Yahweh's melech, Yahweh's angel. That's who was instructing Haggai to build. And it's an unusual word in the next part. It's Yahweh's message from the angel to build the temple. So I thought that was just awesome. I mean, look at this. It's so beautiful. You can see the view down below and the mountains. But it was like just a confirmation of this message, guys, to build his house. Okay? And it's Yahweh's angel that... Okay, here is the Temple Institute's architectural plans for the third temple. They have begun. The sanctuary. Now, we're not certain this is exactly what they're going to build, but this is what they're saying they're going to build. If we look here, that is Herod's temple. Okay, these are the architectural plans that they reproduced to fit the measurements of King Herod. King Herod did not follow the Bible when he built the temple. He made this as a grand structure as you face it, okay? But he was a type of the son of perdition, not following the instructions in the scriptures. Okay, you see the face of that? That's Herod's temple. That is not Ezekiel's temple. Okay, again, you can see all these views. It's Herod's temple. He was a type of the son of perdition. Now here is Ezekiel's temple. This is a whole complex of buildings and structures. This rendition is Isaac Newton's. He spent a lot of time studying the temple. And here's another example of this. You can search for other these, but this area is 1,050 feet square. It's very large. It won't fit on the Temple Mount. And you can see the large gates. See the pink ones and the white ones there. And look at the temple. This does not look like anything that the Temple Institute is showing us. Again, this is Isaac Newton's own handwriting here. His study of the temple in Ezekiel. And look at the temple here. You can see it does not have that T shape of Herod's temple. Okay, this is the proper measurement. Very, very tall gates, as you can see. These are the inner court area. Okay, very tall gates, and there are 6 of those. So this Ezekiel temple through chapters 40 through 48 has never been built. Why? Because it's for Jesus Christ. He's going to reign 1,000 years. You can clearly see a 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ in Revelation 20. So this is the temple. Now, let's look at what the Bible says here in Revelation 20. Revelation 20, we can see, I saw an angel come down from heaven, and it was given the key to the bottomless pit, and he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, the devil, the Satan, and bound him, what? 1,000 years. Okay? You can see that there, 1,000 years. And I saw thrones, and they that sat, and they reigned with Christ, what? 1,000 years. And the rest of the dead were not until, what? 1,000 years. Okay? And they shall be priests unto God, and they shall reign with him, what? 1,000 years. Then, when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan will be loosed from his prison. Okay? And then we have Gog and Magog. So clearly here we have Revelation 20 talking about 1,000 years. Then when we get to Revelation 21, I, John, saw a new heaven, a new earth. And the first heaven and earth were passed away. And what do we have? The tabernacle of God. We have New Jerusalem. Then it goes on to describe, I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride. Well, that happens what? After what? 1,000 years. So we have what? 1,000 years, 1,000 years, 1,000 years, 1,000 years, 1,000 years. All right? So clearly, New Jerusalem is not until 1,000 years. So when we are here in Revelation 11, we're talking about this temple. And it was given to me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel said, Rise, measure the temple of God, the altar, and worship therein. Okay, and this is what we were saying before. You see, the court, which is without, this is not court which is without. This is the auluin, the palace, the in and out palace. Okay, temple. So what is that? What's the palace temple? Well, that's the city. So this here is talking about Ezekiel's temple. Leave out, measure it not, for it is given to the ethnos, the nations, the holy city. Okay, this is the holy city it's talking about. That's what this palace is. You can see even right there, the holy city. So there's 2 things. You have a temple and a holy city. And that's exactly what you have in Ezekiel. So Ezekiel 40 through 48 gives us this temple. And so clearly that's what's happening here in Revelation 11 is we have the holy city. We have the temple, okay? And that is what John is measuring. This has nothing to do with the measurements of the Jews building a third temple, because they will not build a temple according to the book of Ezekiel. Now, let me ask you a question. Who is Yahweh? Yod He Vav He. Is that the devil? Is that the Antichrist? Well, you tell me. First, you must tell me who is Yahweh. And then, you must tell me what he's doing in the temple. And why in Ezekiel 43, verse 7, it says, Son of man, the place of my throne, the place of the soles of my feet. Now, the soles of a feet, this is not a ghost, this is not a spirit, this is a physical person. Where I will dwell in the midst of the children of Israel forever in my holy name. Well, who is this? Well, let's take a look throughout the book. If we go through, again, I encourage you to read the entire thing, but this is Ezekiel 40. And Ezekiel 40 begins to map out the instructions, okay? And as it does, throughout this book, we have the Lord mentioned over and over. We're going to just highlight them. We'll go through and read each one. The keepers of the charge of the altar, the sons of Zadok, okay, should come near to Yahweh to minister him. Okay, ministering to Yahweh. Why? Because he's in the temple. And who is Yahweh? The length and the walls and thereof and the wood. And he said to me, this is the table that is before Yahweh. And these are the south chambers, and the priest should approach unto Yahweh. Okay. And let's see, we have another one here. And they shall offer before Yahweh. Ezekiel 44, verse 2. Because Yahweh, the God of Israel, has entered into this gate. Okay, that's the gate that will be shut, the inner court gate. This gate shall be shut and shall not be opened. No man shall enter by it. Because Yahweh, the God of Israel. Well, who is that? That's Jesus Christ. Okay. That's who's coming with the soles of his feet to dwell in a temple. And 45, verse 1. Moreover, you shall divide by lot the land for inheritance and offer it in oblation unto Yahweh. Okay. 46. Verse 3, likewise the people of the land shall worship at the door of the gate before Yahweh in the Sabbath, Shabbats, and the new moons. And the burnt offering the prince shall offer unto Yahweh on the Sabbath day. Okay, who's Yahweh, guys? We got another one here. And the ministers of the sanctuary which shall come near to minister before Yahweh. Okay, and then what we have is, who is Yahweh? Okay, the city and the people of the land shall come near before Yahweh on the solemn feast and shall enter by way of the gates. Okay, and throughout this we have his name, Yod He Vav He. You have the description of the temple. You have Yod He Vav He. Then we get to Ezekiel 48 and we get this city. Remember we said the holy city. We saw that in Revelation 11. Okay, it describes this area, and then the sanctuary, the temple of Yahweh, shall be in the middle of it. Okay, it's in the middle of it, guys. Okay, so who is this? Who are these people? Who are these ministers unto Yahweh? And you can see, it's even called round about, the measurements, and it says, Yahweh is there, and that is Yahweh Shammah. Okay, so who is this? Who is Yahweh? You got to ask, who is in the temple? Is this, is this something that, is just impossible to understand? I mean, well, we have it throughout the scriptures. He spoke it very clearly. If we go back to Revelation, we go to Revelation 7. And after this, lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all kindreds, people, tongues, stood before the throne, before the Lamb. Okay? And they sang a song, right? So, who are these? And John asked them, one of the elders, and saying, who are these that were arrayed in white robes, and where did they come from? And he said, sir, you know. These are they which came out of great tribulation and washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore they are before the throne of God and serve him day and night in his temple. Now this is not New Jerusalem, guys. In New Jerusalem, there's no temple. Okay, this has to be something else. They serve him day and night in his temple. So who are these ministers in his temple? And it sitteth on the throne. They dwell among them. They shall hunger no more and thirst no more, and these to the sun light them at any more heat. For the Lamb in the midst of the throne shall feed them. Living waters. There's living waters that come out of the temple. Look, guys, this is not rocket science. Okay? We can see if we measure the temple, the Jews are going to make a temple according to Herod. Right? This is not what the scriptures say. John was given a reed like unto a rod to measure the temple. We can see the same reed is used to measure New Jerusalem in Revelation 21. It's also used to measure the temple of Ezekiel in Ezekiel chapter 40. So, we have a temple that's never been built. We have a time period of 1,000 years, before which comes, or after which comes New Jerusalem. Okay, so we have 1,000 years. What happens in 1,000 years? Jesus Christ will reign on the earth, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, in Jerusalem, the city of the great King. So clearly, we will watch, okay? Don't believe the things I'm saying. Look, there will be a temple. The Jews will build a temple. The prophecy must be fulfilled according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, where there will be a temple. The son of perdition will go in to declare himself as God. Okay, it's going to happen. That's going to be a different temple, according to whatever. We don't know exactly, but the information they're giving us is the measurement of Herod. But we have Ezekiel. We can clearly see that the measurement of Ezekiel does not fit on the Temple Mount, so the Jews can't build it. Now, a lot of you will have various arguments to the things that we're proposing in this message. That's fine. God dwells not in temples made with hands. Maybe this thing is not made with hands. Maybe it's like New Jerusalem where it comes down. I don't know. All I know is it must be built, it must happen, and we must build his house. Okay? And so that's what we're doing. We have a whole playlist on Measure the Temple. It's called Number, Weigh, and Divide. Of course, the temple is people. And if you go and you watch the playlist, we can clearly see the people are structured as the stones in the building. So thanks for watching. I do encourage you to watch the Measure the Temple playlist, please. Okay? Educate yourself on this so that you're not deceived. There's a lot of deception around the temple. We're covering quite a bit on this channel. The third temple. We're covering the measuring of the temple. We're also covering the location of the temple. Okay, we're covering all this so that the people know what's going on. They are educated, all right? But this is the one thing that both Jews and Christians stumble upon the most. Okay, Jews can't build Ezekiel's temple. Christians think there's no temple. But there is going to be a temple. It is going to happen, okay? And if you don't prepare for his coming, you don't prepare for his house, God have mercy on you. So watch and pray that you be counted worthy to escape all these things and stand before the Son of Man. Amen.